Bonji Vacorja. Hi everyone, Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat, and this is Fireside Chat 161. And as is customary, I will start with a prayer for peace. Gamara Siakon ar fud na crunne. Gamara Siakon in our jaili agus in our jira. Gunairi lin len ar cuid garamacha. Gamij buichas chief, jeha chuvdaka is spirit chuvdaka. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches, violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see, through our fear of each other, a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb, that our swords be beaten into plowshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the Holy Mountain, with thanks to John O'Donoghue. So it's lovely to see you all here. As you can see, I'm not in my usual place, and it's still raining, and it's been raining for the last 3 days, so I don't know how the weather is where you are. So look, hello from Denmark, Calgary, where else? We have the Netherlands, Hertfordshire, Southern California, wonderful Wyoming. Hello, Liz. Sunny Southern California. New Zealand. Wow, you're up early. That's lovely to see you. So you're all so welcome to this Fireside Chat. So we are going South Devon, lovely, Germany, County Meath in Ireland, Sydney, Australia. Now that's early. Where else? So we are going to Germany, and hello Ricky from London, Lapland. Hello Francis, Detroit. Wonderful to see you all here. So we're going to Germany. We're going to Bonn this evening, and I'd like to introduce my guest. Is Johannes? How do I pronounce your name?
Johannes Romig.
Your surname?
Yeah, Romig.
Okay, lovely. Anyway, you are so welcome. Now, I've been to a few places in Germany because we met at the Mount Thunder camp in Donnersberg
Yes.
in the summer. But you live in Bonn, so tell me a little bit about Bonn.
Yeah, Bonn is a nice place to be. The people are really nice here. So I'm originally from Franconia, Franken.
Okay.
And there the people are a little bit grumpy, perhaps. Not all of them, but some of them. And the people in Bonn, they have the big carnival, and they use every moment to celebrate and to drink and to be friendly. So they don't go as deep into connection as in Franconia in generally, but they are sudden connectors, would I say. So when you go to a bar to drink a beer, you don't leave alone.
Okay.
So it's nice to be here. I live here in Bonn now for 20 or 22 years, something like that, and I enjoy it.
So Franconia, is that towards the south?
It's in the middle of Bavaria.
Bavaria, okay.
Yeah. We from Franconia, we don't like to hear that we are from Bavaria. We are.
Okay, I didn't say it was you.
Yeah, no, everything's fine. Yeah, it's a nice story about that. There are, but I recognize that really later. There are many druids and obodies in my hometown, but I didn't know it. No. I have heard about druidry here in Bonn from a patient of mine, and I was wondering. I thought druids are long gone, and there's no tradition in that. And then I go, went to the internet and saw the oboe side of England and from Germany, and then and it caught me, and I wanted to know all about it, and I wrote down I want to have the quersi, the four first
Hmm.
quersi, and then they came per letter,
Yes.
and I was flattered because they came from Altdorf, from my hometown. And then from this side, I remembered, I recognized that there are some druids in my own home city where I went to school and had childish fun.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's because I've been to Bavaria with
Yeah,
Obod,
yeah,
and just a number of comments here. I want to say hello to Jens, who's German. Jens, I can't remember where you're from, but he's in Crete at the moment. So they say Franken wine is nice, though, even though you might be grumpy. And then Ricky,
yeah,
I don't know Ricky, who's always very reverential. He's in London. I thought Bavarians were a separate species. But anyway, and then Birgit, who's, I don't know if it's the same Birgit, who, greetings from a grumpy North Hessian.
yeah, yeah.
So and then somebody says, I'm from, Gloria says, I'm originally from Oberpfalz.
Oberpfalz. Yeah, that's nearby. It's nearby.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
So
we
go on.
it's Bettina and Egbert. They are
Yes, yes.
there's perhaps they are known. They are living nearby. They live in the neighbor town of my hometown. Yeah.
Okay, and I've
And it's
stayed with
a
them.
yeah, and it's a really Celtic area over there. Yeah, really really deep
Um,
Celtics.
Christopher Hughes and I were at the summer gathering 2 years ago. No, was it
Hmm.
2 years? 2023. 20, you know what? I can't remember. Leave that. 2022. And they took us to a place called Druidenheim, which
Yes.
is, I don't know if you've been there. It means Druid Grove,
Mm.
with these huge big boulders in a forest and trees growing up, with the roots down through fissures in the rock. Absolutely fascinating.
Mm.
I was just blown away.
Yeah. And in this area I live, or I used to live, and I work at the moment there as well. Um, each little town has a little story about Celtics, things from the whole past. So my the church in our town, it's called Rasch. There is a little chapel,
Hmm.
and on the door of the chapel there are still the old runes, the old signs from the Celtics. It's an old Celtic tomb in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what are the runes? Because I always associate runes not with the Celts, but with maybe the Norse. So, which is my ignorance. So, what kind of runes are they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's we call, we might call it Germanic,
Okay, okay, okay.
but it's there's a whole science discussion about that. If the Celtics in these special area they used the runes, or they didn't write anything down, and they are still not sure about it.
Yeah, John wants to know, have you visited the Ton, Hexent Hansplatz in the
In the
heart?
heart, not yet. No,
I don't know what that is. So, do you know what it is?
no, I don't know. No, no, I didn't
Ah,
yet.
okay, okay. So when we were with Bettina and Egbert, then we drove up to the Eiffel to the summer gathering there,
Yeah.
and we stopped off at Glauberg. Have you been to Glauberg?
No, not yet. No.
That's well worth visiting. So there's a big tumulus, and they found this Celtic prince. where they found many statues of the same kind of statue, but in bits, and they managed to recreate one statue. So it has this headdress that looks a little bit like Mickey Mouse, but they believe this represents mistletoe.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has this very, very, they found this gold intricate necklace. And you can see a little bit mirroring the owl when you look at the three rays on your hoodie there.
Mm-hmm.
The golden rays. Fascinating. Just
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
And I hadn't, because I suppose I'm very, what was it? Hiberno-centered in my Druidry. And it was just so lovely to see, the spread and the evidence of the Celts across Europe, knowing that they were. I knew about Hallstatt, etc. But it was interesting just to drive up through Germany and to have places pointed out to me that there were Celtic in origin. I think beautiful.
Yeah. And it's
And
fascinating
Francis,
that that the Celtic culture grows so deep into Europe still, and they are reaching the Alps as well,
mhm,
and they stop at the Alps. Yeah, yeah,
fascinating. And Francis, who's in Finland, he said there are lots of artifacts found on the west coast from the Germanic times: swords, jewelry, armor, and other weapons. And there are some similarities with Celtic culture. So,
yeah,
uh, I mean, the Celts came down as far as Rome. They came into Italy, and then they were in Spain, Portugal, all
yeah,
of that area, and then northern Gaul, and and then they came from the east. So whether maybe the different names at different times, but
yeah.
interesting. And Gabriella, who's from Romania, the Celts continued into current times in Transylvania. So that's fascinating. Brilliant. So Bonn, then, where is Bonn in relation in Germany?
Yeah, it's quite in the middle of the Germany, so it's a
Okay.
little bit up to Frankfurt, and then to the west. So it's
Okay.
not far from here to Belgium, to the Netherlands, to Luxembourg, and it's all also when from here it's not far to go down to the south of Germany as well, to my home place, to Nuremberg, to the Alps, to Munich. And I think that's so it's a little bit a spot in the middle of Europe, somewhere ish like that. Yeah.
And is it your political capital?
No, no, not anymore. It was.
Ah, oh, okay, okay.
Was was till 89, and then
Oh,
it
and
was
so
Berlin.
the wall came
Berlin.
down.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So what's your landscape like?
So where I live at the moment, I live with my family not in the center of Bonn. I work in the center of Bonn, but I'm living a little bit outside of Bonn in a little town called Friesdorf, and there I live on the mountain, and
Oh,
from my mountain we can watch the seven hills. So the old from the old stories with the Snow White, and so we can see the seven hills on the other side of the landscape over the Rhine.
is this where the origin of Snow White comes from, the landscape, like the Seven Hills, the swept? What?
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but it's really called the Seven Hills, like
Yeah.
in the fairy tale, the seven dwarfs from the seven hills. And nearby is another mountain, it's called the Drachenfels, the Dragon Rock.
Yes.
And this Dragon Rock is connected to the old myths of Siegfried.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's a little mystic place all around there. Not far from here is the rock who led into the Rhine, and there was these wonderful woman who played with her hair. She was called Lorelei, and everyone, all the sailors, they shuddered the boats because of the Lorelei sitting on the mountain. It's a little fairy tale place where we live here in Bonn.
Okay, and do you know the story of Lorelei? I mean, why they were shooting the boats and all of that?
She was a little bit like a siren. I don't know the English word.
Siren, yeah. Was she driving
Siren.
the Siren? Was she driving the sailors crazy with their
Yeah, she
song?
was driving the sailors crazy because of her beautiness and her lovely voice. And she was,
Okay.
I don't know the English word, um, brushing her hair. Her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was so lovely, and they all drunk into it, drunk in the Rhine.
Okay. And was there a good ending to this story,
No,
or is it
no,
always
no good ending. The the Germans are not good with good endings.
Oh, and do you have any do you know the story of Siegfried and the dragon?
Little bit.
You want to
Siegfried
share a
was
little?
he takes a bath in the dragon's blood he killed,
Okay.
and the blood um, makes his skin resident, so he was unbreakable,
Resistant. Yes.
resistant. Sorry, and only one leaf was on his skin when he went into the blood, and this was the spot where he could be killed,
His weak
and
spot. Yeah.
his weak spot. Yeah, yeah. And then he was killed by Hagen.
Okay. That's sad.
Sad story, like all German stories. No.
Oh, okay. So, Ricky has put in the chat the ballad of the lore of the sirens. Um, so, uh, if anyone wants to look at that, they can. So, tell me how your background. So, yeah, I suppose your spiritual background. Where did you come from, and how did you find Druidry, and how did you find Obod?
Yes, it's a lovely story. I'm a therapist for natural skills like acupuncture and um, treating with herbs,
Uh-huh.
and I also work on a spiritual way with my clients, and I do that for 7 years now. But
Okay.
it has always called me. So, and my mother does the same things.
Oh,
And I first thought I will do something else. First I wanted to go and be an actor. Then I was a barista for a long time, for 12 years or something like that. And in some place, in some time of my life, I got that call from the other side that I should go and be a healer or something like that. And then I went to schools here in Germany to learn acupuncture really good in an exact way. And then in one evening, I think it was in November, it was really rainy and like we have it today. I had a patient, and she was called Fee, it's translated fairy, and she told me that she is in the Obod, and I said, what's Obod? I don't know that. And she said, yeah, it's Druidry. My uncle is a Druid in Brittany, and she told me that, and I was immediately fixed by that. So I wanted to know everything about it, and she told me where I can find it in the internet, and then I started to look it up. And I was with every word I read, even if it was in German or in English, um, it touched me. It touched my soul and my heart. It was like a little bit like coming home. Um, and I, for myself, said I would never join any club or religion thingies again, because I did that before and that was not that great for me. I was a really good Catholic and so on.
Yeah.
And in some way I said, okay, it's enough for me. But then I said, okay, I do that. And a little bit because there was written, we like everyone, but we don't like someone who doesn't like everyone. So, and that
Well,
I
we have
think,
limits.
okay, that's a little bit anarchy. I like it. I want to do that. And yeah, and then I wrote, I want to test. I want to have a quersus to read a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And then it came to Bonn from my hometown city, from Bettina. I didn't know her yet,
Okay.
and it was mind blowing for me. So it's like, okay, that's another sign that that I'm in the right spot in a spiritual way. And I went into it, and every letter or every quersu, I don't think
Guerci are the plural, but Guers is the plural. Sorry, the
quers.
same. Yeah. GWERS, and then, excuse me,
Let's
sneezing.
see.
GWERSU, but that's pronounced E in Welsh.
Okay,
U is
quersi.
pronounced E, just to
Okay,
confuse you.
nice. I'm confused now.
Good.
um, it was like, so it was not that new for me because I have a 20-year spiritual experience and workshop and whatever I did, but it was like it it felt into my heart and my soul, and it was like being reconnected to some kind of knowledge. It was always in me, but it was like putting together. It's like domino or something like that, like these domino stones you push and then they fall. Yeah, and I also was happy. It was, and it saved my life because it was in COVID times and we weren't allowed to have any contacts. And then I was every month I was four another little books.
The
Yeah,
little,
and
yeah.
it saved my life. And because of that, I really early went into these options you have when you're a bard to chat and communicate with a druid, like mentoring, I think it's called. Yes.
Mentoring, yes.
Yeah. And I enjoyed that really, really much, to have these conversations about spiritual things. They're interesting me and they come out of my thing. Yeah. And it was a really, really nice progress. And I took my time. So, oh, you did something on the
I
screen.
did. Just Gabriella says, I relate to what Johannes is saying. My early reluctancy was also a concern for this not to be a cult. I took a lot of time to make sure this felt safe to join. I'm happy to report that it's safe and not a cult at all. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing, and this is what I experienced in all of in any contact I had. I now were on 4 events, 2 international events. We met on both of them,
Mhm.
and 2 German events. And I would say everyone there is really crazy, and we love to be crazy there in a really, really friendly way. So, and this is where I feel at home, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Fergie, it says, I'm often in agreement with Groucho Marx on the subject of joining clubs. I don't know if you know that famous quotation by Groucho Marx. I thought you were going to say it when you said, I would never want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah.
So, Sean has a question for you. I'll just put it on the screen. What have you discovered about your landscape or your relationship with the land since joining OBOD that you didn't know or experience before?
This is quite a wonder I experienced when I joined the OBOD. We freshly went to this new place in Friesdorf nearby Bonn, our new home place.
Ah,
And we first lived in the middle of the city in a really little flat, and it was too. I have 3 children. It was too little, and we looked something up, and it's really difficult to find something for 3 children in the city. So no chance. We searched for 2 years, and then we got a call that someone bought his grandpa's house and he wants to rent it for a family with children, and we should call him. And we called him and we met each other, and from there on we are friends with him, and now we rent this place he offered us for a price we can pay. Everything was fine, and then the whole OBOT thing started for me, and it's with a little land through the house. And when I go up the hill, it's all on the ground we have. There's a little hidden place, a fireside place, who was used in the time of his grandpa or great grandpa, and it's not used anymore. And it's in the middle of a oak grove. And this is where I used to go when I do some spiritual things in connection with the OBOD. And when I am there, I can feel the oaks and I can feel the ground. I can feel the schiefer, the stones under my feet. And it feels really like being at home there. So I can't tell some stories about history of these places of Celtic history, but it's like a miracle that we are in this place in that time. The place found us and we found the place, and now we are a little bit like the keepers of the place at the moment.
oh, it's beautiful. Did you say you can't tell the stories or you can?
I can't.
Ah,
I
what a pity.
can't.
Yeah.
Can't tell some fairy stories of my home.
But what a nest and seed, but your body knows. So it's wonderful to these synchronous events. You know, you get word that there's a place available for a family with children, and then you
Yeah,
discover an oak grove. Yeah, Nimi says the place found you, Johannes.
yeah.
That's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So you mentioned your spiritual path before. So what kind of spiritual path were you on before you discovered Druidry and Obod?
Hmm. My mom always said, because of me, she got into a spiritual path. So in the time of my childhood, it was like I went through our place where I grow up, and I told my mother, you have to give that plant water, and this one has too much, and
Okay.
this one needs sun. And she asked, um, where do you know? And then I said, the fairies told me. So from my childhood on, I have always a kind of connection to another world or another layers of our world, like you want to see it. And from there on, I was always looking for other people who are like me and who can understand me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some really fancy stuff. I did some stuff I thought, okay, I don't need that. So what you can you can do so many things in this world if you are looking for something. And in some place I then thought, okay, when I want to use these abilities I have, I want to use that as a healer.
Okay.
And then I got some really good advice that said that if you go and do it like a healer, or you do healing stuff, you need something, some medium, some like like a medicine or like herbs, or you need something. You can't do it only by yourself for beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
then I thought, okay, I do acupuncturing, because
Okay.
the acupuncture needles for me, they are little wands. You
Ah,
go
yes. Nice way of putting
into
it. Yes.
the body, and it's a spiritual healing, because no one can see the meridians in your body. They're not there, but they are there when you go there with a needle and you turn or push or pull or do
Yes.
something, or you do something with your intention, then everything changes. It's like go to the chi and do something with that. It's magic, and I like it. But it's, and the people can understand it so good because you did something. You had
Right.
something in your hand and you did something, and then everything is good afterwards. And from there on, like 3 years from now on to the past, I start to get a good feeling by doing something or doing healing without touching or without taking the needles, and only work in the spiritual way, just to focus, and with the focus and the intention and the good thoughts in the heart, then everything changes without any needle or touching or anything. And that's a wonderful work.
I think it's really interesting. You've been guided to use something tangible, like an anchor,
Hmm.
to have a little wand or
Anchor.
your heart or whatever, like an anchor anchors you on the earth. And
Yeah.
then when you get, um, I mean, I do regularly have acupuncture, and I found it really, really beneficial. And then for you, then recognizing that you don't have to, well, obviously the needles are still important, or you wouldn't be doing it. And then there are times, situations where maybe you don't have your needles, you still need to do something.
Mm.
And how you, because I mean, acupuncture works on the energetic. Okay, there's physical contact with the needle into, but I think it's fascinating how then you can move that. And often with various energy, say therapeutic techniques, like for example, this tapping emotional focus.
Hmm.
They say you tap on the meridian points, and then they say you actually don't need to do that anymore.
Hmm.
You know, you once you've acquired a certain level of proficiency with something, then you don't need to work that way. Like I have a
Yeah.
friend who works with magnets, biomagnetics, and
Hmm.
then in COVID she couldn't use the magnets because she couldn't see people physically. She was seeing people online. Now she doesn't need to use the magnets.
Hmm.
And I've had sessions with her, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting,
Yeah.
the anchor that you have, and it's a bit like the good book. I'm not talking about the Bible, but a teaching that you have. And then you say, actually, I've really assimilated all of this. I no longer need this. Now I can make this of my own and work with it. Um, I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Just fascinating.
And for this, the whole pandemic and the COVID, it was like a rebirthing. We had to do it in a different way. I had the same situation that that some clients, they can't come to me to get the help they are really needed. And then I said, okay, let's try something else. Let's close the eyes. We do something. I do something from here, and you can just observe, does it help or something like that? And it helped.
It does. And you mentioned the word intention. And I mean, I've been to conferences where they talk about the power of healing intention and how, and this has been researched, not by wacky people, people who are anchored around it. But that often this notion of, this blew my mind, is that intention precedes the healing, that the work happens, it precedes the action, so that your intention to send healing or whatever it is precedes you actually doing it. And they've done that with PET scans and things. Just think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That our minds and our unconscious and our conscious, and tapping into the collective unconscious, or I think it's just fascinating. We're discovering more and more, but the potential out there is enormous.
Yes, it is. And I learned in my acupuncture classes with a fantastic teacher and master. He's called Don Halfkenny, and he called us. He showed us the Ping Shen work. And Ping Shen is working from the heart, from the bottom, and the deep connection from the own heart, and from there you can reach everything, but only from here. So being really good connected to myself, I invite my patients, my clients, to be in my Tian Song, in my heart space, and there is the sacred flame, and we can work from there with the intention. And I think that it's so deep. There's so many things are in these kind of work. So a little bit I see it as a profession, to tell people to go into their hearts, to feel their hearts again. And this is I think this is my daily work with all my clients and patients, and with my children and my wife and everyone in my.
That sounds so beautiful. Absolutely. Sandy, lives in Tintagel, I do agree with non-tangible healing. I often distance heal, and the person actually feels the heat or tingling sensation when it's happening. My mum often used to send me a message the following day saying, "I felt you working on my knees last night. I can move better today." I mean, I know I've had, um, when we were locked down online, we would open up Zoom and then I would receive it. And Sean says often that stuff gets dismissed, under the label of the placebo effect. Fair enough. But there's some placebos better than other placebos, and acupuncture is a really good placebo.
Yeah.
And placebo is recognized. It accounts for 20% of any improvement, whether it's antibiotics or whether it's a vaccine or whether it's blood pressure tablets. They recognize that universally, that there is a placebo effect, and just some placebos are really better than others.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had treatments for things that I expected would work and they didn't. So where was the placebo there? So, and then they do work. So Patrick says, this mirrors so much of what my work has been. Intention and where we send energy from is so important. Love to hear this kind of chat in the OBOT community. Yeah. And then John says, there was a study on water under a microscope after different interactions with humans, projecting various moods from love to hate, and they found structural differences. Can't remember what that was. I think you're talking about, what do you call him? Emoto, the Japanese guy who talked about the intention and how that affected water crystals, even to healing polluted waters by actually projecting love, light onto it. I'm not too sure how reliable it is, how replicable it is, but it's really, really interesting. And I just think, even, like, how much of us is water? 70, 75%? That if we can have and if what he says is true, then anytime so I've got a glass of water here, so I can say love, love, love. But if I can say that to a person, the water in all of us can respond to that. And I mean, we do that with music. We do that with kind
Yeah,
words. We react to negative words,
yeah. Even from this side of view, you can see how important it is to be friendly to each other. So our water in us gets friendlier as well. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Liz says placebo effect itself is fascinating. Increased over time, the more a placebo resembles aspirin, the more the placebo effect resembles the effects of aspirin. Pharma gets upset, but they miss the point. Absolutely, Liz, indeed. Jules says, I think that people like Johannes are born with an innate sense of healing energies, and to be adept at tapping into that light energy is such a gift. Um, yeah, and Nimi says, my friend has sent us Reiki, absolutely felt the energy. And then Mila says, I've had Tongren sessions over the phone that have been the strongest energy I've ever felt. Well, there you are. Now, another question, because Sean is on the button here. Sean is in Calgary. Has Druidry changed the way you approach your healing practice, or has your healing work influenced your Druidry?
both, really both. With all I knew from the OBOD,
Uh-huh.
I got really more self-confidence to work like I want to do, like it comes out of myself. Be- and on the other hand, I did 2 workshops with Sian on the international camps
Yeah.
where my intention with all the hard things I told, where we did that into a workshop to bring it into the OBOT, because I think it's so important, and it does not. There are no differences between Chinese medicine and OBOT. I think the similarities are really, really many.
I think you've frozen there.
No,
I
I
think you
think
froze.
am
Did
I
I?
frozen? Do you hear me?
I can hear you now. So
Okay,
just go
okay.
back a sentence or two. It just stopped for a minute.
Uh, so I like to bring the profession I do in my whole time in my all day work. I like to do it in the OBOD as well, because I think when I'm a OBODy, it does not I can do it even if it's from Chinese medicine. So it doesn't matter if we call it yin or yang, or the earth energy and the heaven energy, or the silver dragon and the red dragon. It's all the same. It comes together, and we can connect uh, all that things. Or I really like these kind of anarchy in the OBOT, that we can bring everything together, and that everyone is so curious about what do you do. That's good for me. I take that one, and it really fits to that what I do, and let us do it like this, or in another way. And it grows and it grows. It feels really lebendig, vivid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes from our philosophy that we welcome diversity.
Yeah.
And um, so I do herbalism. I'm a psychologist. I've done some shamanic Reiki work. Okay. My main thing is psychology as a psychotherapist. But that I'm not threatened by you who does acupuncture, who's not threatened by somebody else who does blah, blah. And it's kind of, there are many ways of treating somebody, and no one treatment or approach works for everything. And it's about that being open to different perspectives, because then that gives us a better picture of what's going on. And then it's lovely to sit with people and discuss how they handle things or how they would approach something. And you never know what you're going to discover just by having listened to somebody. Um, and the important thing is that we not be threatened by somebody's way of being.
Yes.
Likewise, we have people who, like conventional medicine, allopathic medicine. I'm not talking about the ones who are selling it. I'm talking about the ones who use it. Fine, you accept that. And at the same time, you accept the people who take their own herbs, go out to their own garden. Or some say, no, I eat clean food. Or I go for acupuncture or all of the other treatment modalities that helps. And I mean, I know for myself, people would have criticized me in the past, but I only take what works for me. And if I'm going to somebody and having some method of treatment that isn't helping me, well, then I try something else. I don't keep going, taking the same thing that doesn't work.
Yes, of course.
So, and then the interesting things I've found is that, so I'm going for, we say, acupuncture for a particular issue, and it improves me to maybe 80%. The last 20% stops. And it's like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I try something else, and that 20%, oh, and then so things work for a certain length of time, and then they stop. It doesn't mean I don't go back to acupuncture, but if I have another problem, I do. That things work for a while and then they stop. So when somebody asked me, "Are you a herbalist?" I worked as a herbalist. I am a herbalist, and we were taught that if you get a formula for somebody and they're doing really, really well, so they might take it for a month, but you change it, you vary it, tweak it so that it's not the same old, because something energetically needs to shift. Otherwise, you get stuck in a rut doing the same. And it's the same energetically with people. When I did, I used to go for individual yoga sessions with my yoga teacher. And I would have one. And I said, this is great. This is great. And I come in next month and she said, you have to change. I said, why? This was working really well. No, we have to tweak it. Just that little bit. And I found that really, really well. It's about being open. John says, if anyone into healing wants to expand their offering, okay. The Fragrant Pharmacist by Valerie Ann Warwood. Very nice. Lisa says, I just got an iPad with keyboard after years of one finger typing. Pardon any oops. I just wanted to say I avoid using AI. I love the way you spell it. AYEYE. I feel it's entered a lot of rubbish attitudes into the popular mindsets. I really had to hold to nature and natural remedies. Lavender tincture really has been helping the nerves. It's funny, I'm allergic to lavender. I can't touch it. It just makes my skin go crazy. So again, and it's known as nature's medicine chest, and I can't have it. Homeopathy, I use that. That is brilliant. And Ricky said, this is now my official excuse for trying umpteen different blends of tea. Absolutely. Keep trying. And if it works, continue. And if it doesn't work, try something else. That's always the way, rather doing doing the same thing that doesn't work. It's just brilliant, brilliant. Now we're coming up. Oh, we've gone over our time. So what I would love, because we're going to go over to the hearth now. But before you do, I think our listeners would like, you're a poet. So, and I'm very, very impressed with your dedication for this chat, because you write in German, and your friend who lives in Ireland, an hour before you came, translated. You have a few poems. So if we do one now, and you're going to do it in German, or maybe do it in English first, then do it in German, so we really get the feel of the.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's do it like that. Yeah. It's. I do it with my. So for my last bardic sessions, I write these poems. I'm sorry. Where will hope be? One familiar day on which my step does not exceed the calming measure of 2 flagstones. And I am as pure with all my action as can be, and I found my heart without seeking. On this day, the fairy who was afraid of flying, who found solace in my arms, and who spreads her wings to fly through the world carried by her own breath, revealed to me the tidings. of all those who exist, who were, and who will be, and who will continue to be, those who mark the world and know all the songs, those who are faithful to their heart, those who'd rather find the hand than the sword, those who always wonder and who are always found, those who heal and learn, those who know themselves and who help, those who are like me. From today onwards, my steps are different. I search for my way home and stumble over an even flagstone. I am warned. My heart, it readies itself, and so my journey begins once more. Did I rest? Am I pleased?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I mean, I know you said, how difficult it is to translate poetry from one language to another, but it would be lovely now to hear it in German, which was your first language.
Wo will die Hoffnung sein? Eines gewohnten Tages, an dem mein Schritt das beruhigende Maß von 2 Pflasterlängen auf dem Trottoir nicht überschreitet und ich mit all meinen Taten so rein bin, wie es gerade so geht und ich ohne Suchen mein Herz gefunden habe. An jenem Tage eröffnet mir die Fee, der das Fliegen Angst bereitete, die in meinen Armen Vertrauen fasst und ihre Flügel breitet, um auf ihrem eigenen Atem durch die Welt zu fliegen, die Kunde von all jenen, die es gibt, die es gab und weitergibt, jene, die die Welt zeichnen und alle Lieder kennen, jene, die treu sind zu ihrem Herzen, jene, die lieber eine Hand finden als ein Schwert, jene, die immer reisen, die gefunden werden, jene, die heilen und lehren, jene, die sich kennen und helfen, jene, die sind wie ich. Ab heute sind meine Schritte andere. Ich suche meinen Weg nach Hause und stolpere über einen ebenen Pflasterstein. Ich bin gewarnt. Mein Herz, es macht sich bereit und so beginnt meine Reise erneut. Habe ich gerastet? Bin ich erfreut?
Wow, the reactions here, that brought on a wave of emotion, and I've never heard those feelings and actions expressed like that before. Beautiful. I like that, the hand that finds another. Just beautiful and absolutely wonderful. So we're going to move over to the heart. So I just let you say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
And
it was really nice to have the chat. I hope you enjoyed it. My English is like the evening. It's a little bit rainy, and I hope you got my messages. And perhaps we see each other in lifetime again.
It was very, very clear. Do you have a book of poetry? Is one question.
Not yet.
Aha! Now, did you hear the word, the yet word? We love that. So hopefully, because the response to your poetry has been just so beautiful. So I will see you in a few minutes, so don't go. And we will go to the heart shortly. I'll just say goodbye to everybody here.
Yeah.
So listen, thank you so much. I know we've gone over the time, and lovely for your comments. I hope many of you can join us on the heart now. I won't be here next week, but on the 2nd of November at 7 p.m. UK time, our online Samhain ceremony for the order, and that will be hosted by Jane Myatt, and we have our Dutch Obodies are holding the ceremony. So I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and until then, the blessings of Samhain to you all, and if I don't see you on the hearth, see you in 2 weeks' time. Good morning, good afternoon, or if you're listening to, or good evening, or if you're listening to watching a recording of this. Until we meet again, Slán go fóill.